From the Palace at Auburn Hills, outside of Detroit, 5th-ranked Michigan State taking on the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. Welcome to the Palace, the home of the Pistons. With Bruce Pearl, I'm Carter Blackburn. 10 days ago, Michigan State was the #1 team in the country, lost to North Carolina, and suffered some very serious injuries. The question today is, who's going to play?
Well, Carter, that ankle's been in a boot for about a week and a half, and Tom Izzo said, you know what, I'm going to give him the time he needs to rest. We've got to have him healthy as we go down the home stretch.
So Gary Harris not expected to play today for Michigan State. That's certainly the intent by the Spartans. Then you have Matt Costello, who was out for at least a couple of weeks with mono. Adrian Payne still battling foot injury. Kenny Kaminsky has been suspended indefinitely. So this leaves you with the Michigan State starting 5 for today versus Oakland. And that starting 5 has Keith Appling, the senior point guard, and he is still battling wrist problems and a bruised hip. Travis Trice in the starting lineup. Denzel Valentine in there along with Brendan Dawson and Adrian Payne, who has been back with the team practicing since Wednesday. For the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, 2-8 against a brutal schedule. It's Felder, Travis Bader, one of the nation's top scorers and three-point shooters. Duke Mondi, the senior who led the nation in steals last year, leading the nation in steals again this season. McCune and Corey Petros for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. So Michigan State, #5 now in the country, coming off the loss in the long break after the defeat at home to North Carolina. Tom Izzo back to practice this week, even through finals week. What was the emphasis when you watched Michigan State practice yesterday, Bruce?
Unbelievable effort, unbelievable energy and enthusiasm. These guys were either excited to play here in the Palace or they were thrilled that finals were open, or both.
The Oakland Golden Grizzlies, 2-8, but they have played a tremendous non-conference schedule. They've already played at North Carolina, at UCLA, at Cal, at Gonzaga. So how does Oakland stay in this game with 5th-ranked Michigan State today?
They absolutely got to make Michigan State beat them from the perimeter offensively. They can't allow them to kill them on the boards, and somehow they've got to slow the tempo of this game down. If Michigan State goes fast and scores in transition, it could be a long afternoon.
That pass intended for Payne gets knocked out of bounds. What's Michigan State's emphasis early in this game, especially offensively?
I think it's get that ball inside to Adrian Payne, established him in the low post, and then work the perimeter.
And to Brandon Dawson. First look won't go. Michigan State now 7-1. That lone loss, the loss to North Carolina. And they got off to a very slow start against the Tar Heels. Down to the post for Oakland. Back out to Felder, misses the first 3 look. Dawson Boris. Dawson attacks again. Payne. Payne from the baseline. Tough finish along the baseline for Adrian Payne.
We talked to Tom Izzo and he said that's where they've got to go, something they've been missing. Adrian is much more comfortable facing, not as comfortable with his back to the basket. He can score either shoulder. That's a good start for the Spartans.
And all eyes on #3, Travis Bader for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Didn't hit a three-point shot in their last game, a loss in Indiana. That snapped the streak of 62 straight games in which he'd made a 3. Duke Mondi buries the first triple for Oakland.
The Providence transfer has had difficulty with shot selection, but on that one there, he did not hesitate. If Oakland can find another scoring option other than Travis Bader, it really helps their chances.
Oakland makes an average of 7 threes a game. Dawson attacking and getting fouled, and Greg Kampe now in his 30th season as the head coach at Oakland. Only Jim Boeheim and Mike Krzyzewski have longer tenures in Division I.
Well, what does that tell you? This guy came up the hard way, Division II coach for many, many years. He brought this Oakland program to Division I, and look what they're playing right now in the Palace at Auburn Hills against Michigan State.
And you played against him in both Division II and Division I.
Yeah, brilliant offensive coach. Guys that know offense also understand defense, and he plays the toughest schedule in America in the non-conference.
Why? Why go to UCLA, Gonzaga, North Carolina, Michigan State on a neutral floor?
Because it's all about getting ready for the Horizon League. This is the first year for the Oakland Grizzlies in the Horizon League. He wants to get his team tested. It's hard sometimes on their confidence, and at times this year, Greg Campy's been frustrated, but he actually thinks his 5 guys, his starting 5, might be as good as any he's had since he's been at Oakland.
They moved from the Summit to the Horizon this year. They'll play Detroit for the first time in over a decade. Mondi. This is McCune. Turns it over. Spartans on the run. Valentine gets it back now to Payne. Payne knocks it down, and he has 5 of Michigan State's 6.
When Adrian Payne added that to his resume, he became a stretch four-man who can also defend, and he's athletic. That ability really helps with the next level.
Bader misses his first look from 3. Trice on the wing, stepped out of bounds. Oakland ball.
You know, Michigan State is one of the best fast-breaking teams in the country because they rebound it and they turn the ball over. They've got many guys that can also handle the ball in the middle floor. That time, Valentine takes it in the middle, and you can see there's still a transition moving the basketball. Great face-up for the trailing four-man Adrian Payne.
Shooting over 50% now from three-point. A 6'10 player who's shooting 50% from 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, he couldn't shoot it when he first got here, but he sure shoots it now.
9 to shoot for Oakland, into the post. That's Petros. The junior from Macomb, Michigan, and Michigan State turns it over.
You want to go fast, but you don't want to rush. I know Tom Izzo's not happy with that turnover. Work really hard, rush without the ball. Really run hard without the ball, but don't rush with the ball, and that's what happened on that turnover.
Payne gets a break.
And Carter, you're going to see Payne get lots of breaks with the plantar fasciitis. He's going to play, and he's going to play a lot, but he's going to play in spurts. Look for him to play 3 or 4 minutes here and there, but not for any long period of time. He's still working on his condition.
Started practicing again on Wednesday, but plantar fasciitis, that foot problem. Travis Bader knocks down his first triple. So start another streak for the guy who had 62 straight until he didn't hit one versus Indiana.
Well, I tell you what, Tom Izzo's not very happy with Valentine.
And then Dawson turns it over. Oakland on the run. Felder driving, blocked from behind. Dawson got a piece. Dawson misses badly at the rim.
Spartans are a little rusty. They haven't played in 10 games. 10 days, actually.
Well, Bruce, this is something you thought might be the case for Michigan State. Playing with a different rotation, haven't played in 10 days, started slow versus North Carolina, and Oakland obviously taking a bit of advantage early on.
Denzel Valentine and Travis Trice are used to coming off the bench. They like coming off the bench. They're more comfortable in those roles. The question for Michigan State right now, who now, 4 minutes into the game, will come off the bench and give Michigan State a little life and a little hit?
Here at the Palace at Auburn Hills, it's 5th-ranked Michigan State down early to the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. And welcome to the home of the Pistons. With Bruce Pearl, I'm Carter Blackburn. 10 days ago, Michigan State was the #1 team in the country. They lose to North Carolina, but they also suffered some key injuries, most notably Gary Harris. So the key question for this game and moving forward, who is Michigan State going to play? Who are they going to have available?
Keith Appley is going to play, but not after he was 2 stories above the floor there. He gets a hip pointer. You can see Gary Harris, he tweaks the ankle right there. And Adrian Payne, playing with a plantar fasciitis, that's a cramp right there. And that's because he is not in great condition. Michigan State's a tough team, but they're playing through some injuries.
Matt Costello, it is mononucleosis, so he is out at least for a couple of weeks for Michigan State. Adrian Payne will play. Keith Appling will play. Gary Harris will not. In addition to that, Kenny Kaminsky is suspended indefinitely for Michigan State. So in mid-December now, you have a whole lot of rotation changes and personnel changes for Michigan State. How do the Spartans deal with it?
Well, it's really going to be an audition for somebody else to come off the bench, because the bottom line is, look, Appling and Payne are going to be terrific, and those guys are going to do what they do. But they're going to need some help from the rest of the team. Gauna, Schilling, Ellis, somebody else has got to step forward. I think Trice and Valentine will be fine. And, of course, for Oakland, it's all about getting Travis Bader back on track. Folks, watch him. He is in constant motion off the ball. He'll work the entire game trying to get free from three. And if he can see it, he can make it.
And before this one tipped, Bruce said all eyes on Adrian Payne for Michigan State. 5 of the first 6 for the Spartans.
Well, he's long and he can shoot over the top of you, but he's dangerous from the top of the key. That's something he's worked on. He couldn't do that when he first came to Michigan State. Now he's one of the most deadly face-up 4 men in the country as far as shooting a 3-ball.
Oakland has 5 points off of Michigan State's 3 turnovers early. So, like it was against North Carolina, slow start for Michigan State.
Yeah, slow start, and Trice and Valentine were starters. So that's why Gana's in the game right now. Ellis is in the game right now. It's a good opportunity for somebody else to take advantage of these minutes.
Bader, contact, play on. That's Travis Bader, the senior who is one of the nation's top 3-point shooters, one of the nation's top scorers. Dawson draws the foul on the other end. We've seen Brandon Dawson aggressive in the first few minutes today against Oakland.
Well, he is an impressive athlete. And when he plays like the Tasmanian Devil, he's almost impossible to stop. And there you could see Michigan State getting the ball down the floor in transition and allowing him to protect the rim.
So sometimes coaching is just as simple as saying play like a Tasmanian Devil.
Absolutely. There's not a better analogy for me. But that's where he struggles right there. And here's the problem, Carter. He's only gone to the line 6 times all year. 6 times. He does not want to get fouled. I would live with him at the foul line. So you want to be a great scorer? You don't have to be a great 3-point shooter. Just go get fouled and make these free ones.
Second one rolls in. So a 1-point Oakland lead. If you're unfamiliar with the Michigan area, Oakland in the Detroit area. So Oakland, Michigan. They've been to the NCAA tournament 2005, 2010, 2011. And Greg Campy's 30 seasons as head coach of the Oakland Golden Grizzlies.
And this is a home game from Oakland. Wearing white, playing on the Detroit Pistons home floor. How exciting for these kids.
Felder slips the screen and earns a trip to the free throw line. Khalil Felder, the freshman from Detroit Pershing. Journey to the Tourney presented by Sonic, Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. This is UCLA versus 8th-ranked Duke from Madison Square Garden.
A UCLA team that is scoring almost 90 points a ball game. That is going to be a very, very exciting contest. Up-tempo, Steve Alford, UCLA.
Jabari Parker has gotten a lot of attention for Duke, deservedly so, but how good is Rodney Hood?
Rodney Hood's terrific, and on the other side, UCLA, Steve Alford's got some really good players. Jordan Adams is very, very excited to watch. They got the biggest point guard in the country at UCLA, and Zach Levine is a freshman that you should watch for in that contest.
Felder gets them both. Oakland by 3. Appling off a hard screen from Payne. On to Travis Trice. Pulled down by Duke Mondi. Felder on the run. Missed it, was bothered down low. Appling stripped. Another Michigan State turnover. Mondi to a trailing Bader for 3. Second made 3 for Travis Bader.
2 things happened there. It started with Duke Mondi's strip and rip. He leads the nation, and of course he finds his teammate Travis Bader for 3. He doesn't go in for a layup for 2. He goes and finds Bader for 3 because 3's worth more than 2.
So Travis Bader with a pair of triples to make it a 10-1 Oakland run.
You can see the rust here, can't you? Haven't played for 10 days.
7 to shoot. Payne nearly turns it over again. Appling. Offensive foul called on Appling. So Travis Bader, who has sparked this 10-1 run, his dad Richard, Michigan State basketball ops, now the director of sports operations. He grew up around this Michigan State program. Tom Izzo has nothing but praise for Travis Bader.
He grew up in Tom Izzo's gym right there, and mean, Richard was originally a swim coach, and then he was the director of basketball operations. And now, of course, he works at Michigan State. I guarantee you he's rooting for his son.
Now, he had the Oakland Grizzlies apparel on and says, yeah, absolutely. And that's with the support of Mark Hollis and Tom Izzo saying if it was their son playing, they would be wearing the colors and the logos of their son's team.
There's no question. Blood is thicker than water. I mean, he gets his paycheck for Michigan State. But I'll tell you what, Tom Izzo spoke so highly of Travis Bader. Said, talked about a guy that really earned it, that deserved it, that, you know what, we in coaching work hard. We all do. But, we take our kids to the gym sometimes, and that's where he spent hours and hours with his dad working that jump shot. Only Division I offer for Travis Bader was from the Oakland Grizzlies. And
Travis Bader has earned his communications degree already in 3 years. He's now in grad school, and he's a candidate for the Lowe's Senior Class Award.
He wants to be a college basketball analyst. I think he looks like Sean Farn.
I think so. Well, the game is a whole lot better than Sean's. I can guarantee you that. There is no question Bader's game is more advanced than Farnham's. Nine to shoot. Denzel Valentine. Payne misses the follow. Second chance. Loose ball. Foul will go against Valentine and Michigan State.
Well, right now, Michigan State looks so mechanical on the offensive end. They go real fast in transition, and they're comfortable playing in transition. But in the half court, they're sort of standing around it. Just like in the North Carolina game, Oakland is beating Michigan State to those 50-50 balls.
How much of that is not having Gary Harris, your leading scorer?
Gary Harris is their confidence. He's their leader. He's the swag. They got a lot of good players out there, but when everything works out, he's their best player offensively and defensively, and he's terribly missed. In the long run, this is going to help Michigan State because it's going to develop some of these guys, as long as it doesn't hurt too bad in the short run.
Petro's turnaround, and Oakland commanding early against Michigan State, 15-7. And then Gauna turns it over. Oakland ball again, an 8-point lead. Michigan State is only 2 for 8 shooting, and the Grizzlies are commanding early at the Palace.
There's no question it's a hangover for this Michigan State team. And Greg Campy, we talked to him yesterday at practice. He felt like his team could play. He thought his starting five could be there right there. And I think the thing that Oakland's doing really well is they're communicating on the defensive end. They're building a wall, and they're making Tom Izzo's team score over the top.
So in the first 7+ minutes of the game, Michigan State has 6 turnovers, 2 field goals.
Right now, Oakland is controlling tempo. They're the smaller team, they're the quicker team, and they'll be hard to play, come from behind basketball.
Oakland has never beaten Michigan State. Only 2 wins over Big Ten opponents, both in the calendar year 2010. Appling charges in. Payne. Tip in from Brandon Dawson.
Brandon Dawson had double-doubles in Brooklyn, and they didn't run a single play call for him because he goes to the offensive glass. He's one of the top offensive rebounders in the entire country, an undersized power forward that plays so big. Oakland's got to keep him off the boards.
Here's Bader. Dawson pulls it. Mondi goes for the steal. Gauna. Payne finally finishes it off.
With an exclamation point. But I tell you what, Oakland's got Travis Bader. You watch him work without the basketball. He's going to find a way to get open. The inside-out pass. And the Oakland Grizzlies have got a 4-point lead here at the Palace.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive? And Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2014 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Week for cancer research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations to fund cancer research. Operating expenses are paid for by an endowment fund. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. Carter Blackburn, Bruce Pearl, we're proud to have our V-Pens on, as is Greg Campy, who looks especially dapper tonight, Bruce.
Absolutely styling. He is not going to get many votes for best dressed coach in America. He usually wears a mock, but he said playing in the Palace, he got a lot of heat from his fans. Last time he went up against Tom Izzo, said he clearly outcoached you, and what was more important, he outdressed you.
So Greg went with the match. This is the first time he has ever worn the pocket square on the sideline, Bruce. This is, I mean, imagine if Oakland wins this game over fifth-ranked Michigan State. Greg Campy is going to need, he's going to need Santa to bring him a lot of pocket squares, because I think you would have to stick with the pocket square.
Is that a handkerchief or a pocket square? Which one is? I mean, Campy sweats. He's liable to wipe his brow with that thing.
If you wipe with it, then it's a handkerchief. It stays there, pocket square.
Thank you.
5-0 Michigan State run. Adrian Payne finishes it off, and there's Dawson for the board, and another turnover. The 7th by Michigan State.
And that's been the story of this contest. 4 assists and only 1 turnover for Oakland, 1 assist and 7 turnovers for Michigan State. The Spartans are rushing, and Oakland is being patient in the half-court end.
Michigan State without Gary Harris today, trying to make sure that he is healthy, coming back from the ankle injury, getting ready for Texas next week and then Big Ten play. 4 to shoot. Williams has to hoist it and buries it. Dante Williams.
You know, Greg Campy said that he does not normally like to do this, but he felt it was his only chance to beat the Spartans. Now, the key is for Michigan State not to be impatient down at this end. Run their stuff, go inside, do the things they know they need to do to win the game.
Back cut, Dawson misses the dunk.
See, there, for case in point, they wanted to go inside of Dawson. They just, 10 days off, getting through finals. They just haven't executed. And with the schedule that Oakland has played, these kids are not overwhelmed. They're not intimidated by these guys. They grew up with these kids in Michigan. When you know the shot clock is running down, there's no pressure on you to take a shot. Little weave, dribble, handoff. Dante gains the ball back. There's no pressure on that shot. There's only 1 second on the shot. That's a good shot with 1 second on the shot clock, and that's why sometimes those percentages go up, and Dante Williams is shooting the ball extremely well this year. He is now 6 for 15, almost 40%.
Williams in his junior year, they say he's always been a great practice player. Junior from Ann Arbor, went to Huron High School. Say it's starting to finally translate. They've been waiting for it to go from practice to games.
Yeah, Campy calls him the greatest practice player on earth, all time. But the thing is, he's got the ability, and Camp really loves him. He's just trying to give him some confidence, and all it takes is a couple of plays like that.
8 Michigan State turnovers. They are averaging, this is a low under Tom Izzo in his 19 seasons, averaging just 11 a game, and yet 8 turnovers for Michigan State. Monty gets a bit of a warning there for grabbing it after it was a made basket.
Well, that's kind of a heads up play by Monday, because Tom Izzo knows he wants to get that fast break started. Monday says, let me help you, and let me be a gentleman, give you the ball after a made basket. That just slows Michigan State's break down, and now Oakland gets to set up their half-court defense, and Grant Campy's going to build a wall, and he's going to make Michigan State shoot over them, or maybe turn it over again.
Into Payne. Especially without Harris. Payne carrying the scoring load for Michigan State. 12 points from Michigan State, 8 of them from the senior from Dayton, Ohio, Adrian Payne.
Well, this is the challenge for Tom Izzo right now. He's got a very good jump shooting basketball team, but the way to beat this Oakland team is to pound the ball inside. Not for Adrian Payne to settle for 15-foot jump shots and then have Michigan State crash the boards when there are 5 white jerseys on the inside. Oakland is daring them to take that shot, and Michigan State is settling. Here he comes. What's this?
Bader. Price with him there on the catch. 10 to shoot. Mondi off the screen from Hill. Bader's in the corner. Instead, it's Benziger who takes the shot. Shot clock winding down now from near half court. Shot clock violation. Tonight, ESPN2 delivers college hoops doubleheader at 7, New Mexico, Kansas, and then at 9, Illinois taking on 15th ranked Oregon.
People forget how young that Kansas team is. They just expect Bill Self to, lose 5 stars from a year ago, and the best defensive team in the country with Jeff Riffey as that rim protector, and they just expect them to be national champs again.
Payne fouled hard on the way up off the look from Valentine. So Adrian Payne will head to the free throw line. He's coming back from the plantar fasciitis. I mean, it looked really bad when he went down in the North Carolina game. That's especially for a big man. I mean, foot injuries can turn into other things.
Well, to get him the ball inside, a lot of times penetration will draw some help. And Valentine, Denzel makes the right pass right there, draws a defender, and gets to his teammate in there on the inside. Payne's development has been spectacular, Carter, because he was a guy that was not a highly recruited kid. I mean, not everybody in the Big Ten wanted him. He was long, he was athletic, but he wasn't very skilled. He was painfully shy and quiet. And I tell you what, being Draymond Green's roommate after his sophomore year helped him grow up and mature as a person and as a student athlete. And then after that, his game just blossomed.
Came back for his senior season as well, including that three-point shot. Not just a mid-range shooter anymore. He's 50% from three-point. Adrian Payne has 10 of Michigan State's 14.
Let's keep it in the game. We won the one-on-one early. We said, who else other than Adrian Payne?
Felder blocked by Appling. Denzel Valentine pushes. Trice to Valentine. Follows his miss. He draws another foul call. That's on Felder. 6-point edge for Oakland on Michigan State as we check in with the coach, Jonathan Coachman.
Carter, thank you, brother. Welcome back in studio here in Bristol, Notre Dame, Indiana, over on ESPN. Noah Vonleh. Oh, the throwdown right now. About 5 minutes into the second half, Notre Dame, they've led the entire way up by 3. Last time UMass was in the top 25, 1998. They're playing like it again today, up 17 on Northern Illinois. Back to Auburn Hills after this.
1987 Wooden Award winner David Robinson was Navy's all-time leading scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker. He led the midshipmen to 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances. The only time in school history that's been done.
The Admiral, one of the all-time greats, Andre Drummond. Detroit Pistons Center had a pretty nice night here last night as well in the Pistons.
All the way from Middletown, Connecticut. He played 1 year at UConn. He's one of the most talented big men in the NBA.
And his guy, Adrian Payne, finishes that one off. Asked Andre, all right, who you enjoy watching? He says, well, of course, Adrian Payne. And Adrian Payne is carrying the load right now for Michigan State.
He's got 12 or 16. And, of course, you always are interested in what coaches do coming out of timeouts. And Tom Izzo he's still got that clipboard in his hand over there at the sideline. And he drew that thing up coming out of timeout. They got the ball in bounds, and they ran Adrian off a little curl. I watched Greg Campy's team practice that over and over yesterday, so I know Coach Campy's not very happy that he got such an easy look.
So 12 of the first 16 for Payne. Michigan State has only 1 assist.
And they lead the nation in assists, about 66% of the baskets. But Oakland's taken the transition away, and they look like they've had 10 days off.
Golden Grizzlies have led by as many as 8. Petros to the line with a chance to get it back to 6.
Well, not many teams have got posts that can score with their back to the basket, and that's exactly what Corey Petros is. You know, Greg Campy thinks that he is going to be one of the better inside players in the Horizon League, and they do a lot of things to get him the ball on angles. That time, a pump fake sends Adrian Payne up, and it sends him to the line.
So Oakland first year in the Horizon. So that league, Wright State, Green Bay, favorites this year.
Wright State, yep. I would put I'd put Cleveland State in there. Maybe my old Milwaukee team is off to a great start right now. Oakland will be a factor. They picked in the middle of the league, but they got to earn their respect first.
Another turnover. Mondi run out, couldn't finish, so the Spartans bring it back, and a wide open Adrian Payne finishes it off.
Well, that's the kind of play that'll get the crowd back into the game, even though this is Oakland's home floor. There's a lot of people in green and white here in the Palace. Duke Mondi has got 4 steals already in the first half. He leads the nation in steals at a little over. He's a gambling man. And if you put the ball down the floor and he's on the floor with you, he's going to take it from you.
We're at the Palace north of Detroit, right down the street from Oakland's campus. Only about an hour and a half from East Lansing. Obviously a huge Michigan State fan base here in Detroit. Duke Mondi. Oakland by 5.
Well, if you don't rebound the miss, you can't run your fast break.
Payne creating, but Dawson turns it over. There will be Oakland basketball out of bounds off of Dawson.
No surprise that Mondi got that one, but Adrian Payne is absolutely keeping these guys in the game. There's a turnover down the other end, and Payne knows how to finish down this. He's going to be a good pro, Carter, because he can play at both ends of the floor. He can throw this back to the basket. He can play facing up, but he just needs some help from another Spartan out there.
10 turnovers for Michigan State. They have averaged 11, the lowest in 19 years under Tom Izzo. Payne backs away, but McCune couldn't finish. Payne the rebound, outlet Spartans. Appling, Trice. Long rebound for Dawson, it's knocked away, and Oakland brings it back. Mondi attacks. Back to a 7-point lead for Oakland.
Now this thing is going just according to the script for Greg Campy.
Appling banks it in.
That's Keith's first basket. It's in transition, and obviously they need for him to step up. They're missing Gary Harris's leadership right now. Somebody to pull those guys together, grab them by the shirt, other than Tom Izzo, and say, "This, we are not representing. This is not Michigan State's basketball."
Gary Harris re-aggravated the injury to his right ankle in the North Carolina game, so doesn't expect to be a long-term injury, but had the cast taken off just yesterday on Friday. So in the interest of keeping Gary Harris healthy for the rest of the season, he doesn't play today.
Now the question is, how much of that is just thinking that you could beat Oakland? You beat them 10 straight times in a row. You should be able to beat them. And yet he just, you can't play a kid who got a cast off on Thursday and expect him to come out and play on a Saturday afternoon.
You're right, ankle cast off on Thursday. Back to light practice yesterday. Adrian Payne's been practicing since Wednesday for Michigan State, coming off the loss to North Carolina. Michigan State goes from #1 to #5. This is their first time back on the floor since the lone loss to the Tar Heels.
And they want to get the taste out of their mouth of that defeat.
Trice knocks it away. Oakland recovers. Bader, shot clock winding down. McCune, another shot clock violation. Well, we'll find out tonight who wins the 2013 Heisman Trophy. That's 8 Eastern on ESPN, presented by Nissan. And I think Jameis Winston these are all the candidates, and a big field in New York this year, but Jameis Winston clearly the favorite.
You know, Carter, when it came to the MVP awards, I always like to give the best player on the best team the award. And if Florida State's the best team, then my vote would go for Jameis Winston. But I don't get to vote.
No. Johnny Manziel does, by the way, because he won last year's Heisman Trophy. He has a vote this year. Trice triple.
You know, no shocker that when Michigan State gets back in this game, and they will, and we're asking who else would step up, there's no question Travis Trice would a guy that would come to mind. He's a classic backup point guard, a guy that loves to come off the bench, and he's accepted the challenge of guarding Bader.
Bader leaves it short. Appling. Tip follow goes from Brandon Dawson, and now Michigan State has cut what was an 8-point Oakland lead down to 2.
In transition, your offensive glass is also vulnerable. Not all the white shirts are on the inside, and Michigan State is able to climb on those offensive boards.
7-2 Michigan State run. Benziger misses in tight. Neely turns it over. Michigan State on the run. This is Trice again. Bader pulls it.
What Oakland's going to do would be reminiscent of what Dean Smith would do with the four corners. Right now with a 2-point lead, they're just trying to get into the locker room. And instead, Monday takes the ball and he doesn't get over the 10-second line, and they get a violation.
Michigan State from 8 down has pulled to within 2 of the Golden Grizzlies.
Studio, coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Miles Simon will tell you how his alma mater, #1 Arizona, got it done on the road in their first ever trip to Ann Arbor. We've got a full preview. Kentucky, first true road test in Chapel Hill coming up later today. Hey, Carter, tell Dan Dockage to let you talk a little bit.
10 days ago, Michigan State lost to North Carolina, the only loss of the season. What impressed you about the Tar Heels on that night?
Roy Williams teams are best when they run. Marcus Page has been a real key for them. He's a confident player playing the 1 and the 2 position. He knows how to score. He's getting some help in transition from J.P. Tokoto. But the key is the Carolina was physical, and they absolutely pushed Michigan State around, something that really surprised Tom Izzo.
Well, early on, Oakland actually opened the season at North Carolina. Talked with some of the Oakland coaching staff. They say it's amazing the length of North Carolina.
Yep.
Just everybody coming off the bench with size.
Size and length and big bodies. Got plenty of depth, too.
Adrian Payne, another nice move. Adrian Payne now has 16 of Michigan State's 27.
We come out of a dead ball situation, and what do the Spartans do? They go inside to Adrian Payne, and Oakland doesn't have anybody that can guard him in there.
And the Spartans have erased what was an 8-point Oakland lead.
Second chance points have been huge for Michigan State. 9-2 so far.
Hand check foul called on Russell Bird.
Well, Adrian Payne is patient in the post. He takes a look and sees whether he's going to get doubled, and he's ready to pass the entire time. He's going to then drop step and go over left shoulder, right hand. That's his favorite move. Oakland probably should have come down and got him and made him kick it back out, and somebody else shoot the jump shot.
So the goal for Tom Izzo and Michigan State was to limit the minutes for Adrian Payne tonight as well, which may take place in the second half, but they have certainly needed Adrian Payne in the first.
Well, there's going to be no rest in Adrian Payne in this one. This is going to be a dogfight. And Oakland is in good position here. Michigan State is fortunate that the score is where it's at right now because they've been clearly outplayed.
Bader finishes it off with a pair of free throws to put Oakland back up by 2. Travis Bader scored 22 a game last year, 5th in the country.
Payne down the block again.
Trice missing from the elbow. Mondi pushes. Bader gives it up. Benziger, the walk-on in the corner. Somewhere in there, a foul against Oakland.
If you play for Grant Camping, he will never tell you not to shoot the basketball. He's known for that. He gives his guys tremendous freedom. And I'm telling you, Benziger, the walk-on, has been terrific. But I don't know if early in the clock, Bader turns one down to get it to him in the corner and have him shoot that shot.
On the line for Michigan State.
A loose ball foul called, so that's why Bird goes to the free throw line for a 1-and-1 here. Russell Bird, the junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
He had 3 left foot surgeries between May 10th and May 2001. 11, excuse me. He has had nothing but injuries.
Misses the front end badly, and it's Oakland basketball apparently off of Denzel Valentine.
It's a tough position to come in cold like that and have to go to the foul line right away. But that's the idea, for somebody else to step up.
That's Benziger, who airballs looked like he got hit. The officials missed it. Michigan State brings it back. Appling fouled in the paint.
Well, Keith came out of high school as a big-time scorer and a big-time shooter. And his freshman year, he was a 2-guard. He shot 40% from 3. And as a sophomore, Tom Izzo needed him to be their point guard. He struggled early, Carter. And when he finally realized that when he shot the ball less and worked really hard at making other guys better, his numbers have improved dramatically. Look at it there.
The scoring, the three-point shooting, up every season since his freshman year. The first time that Keith Appling started for Michigan State was in this building against Oakland his freshman year.
Yep. And he's hurt. I mean, anybody that leaves their feet and they're 3 or 4 stories off the ground, lands on their hip against North Carolina, you just don't go soak that thing in the ice tub and get better. He's a tough kid playing. There's a difference between pain and injury. He's not injured, but that's got to be painful.
So he's playing banged up with the wrist and the hip. Gary Harris is out for today. You have Matt Costello, who played the best for Michigan State against North Carolina. He's out with mononucleosis for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and in the long run, this is going to be good for the Spartans because other guys got to be involved to step up. But in the short run, that's a lack of rotation by Michigan State's defense.
Petros has 7. Oakland back up by 3. Valentine. The Golden Grizzlies with a 3-point edge. Greg Campy takes a timeout. We step aside momentarily as well. Started. Greg Campy's Oakland Golden Grizzlies have a shot today to beat 5th-ranked Michigan State, and it won't be a shocker. Why did you think that Oakland had a chance in this game?
Because that guy can coach, and he's gone up against Tom Izzo for many, many times. Is it a smart thing for Tom Izzo to play against Greg Campy? No, it's not smart, because he's got everything to lose and nothing to gain. But he does the right thing by playing these local teams and playing them in their building, and he was there once. And right now they're not turning the ball over. Monday's got 5 steals and Bader's got 2 threes, and they're controlling the tempo. And Michigan State just can't panic if they want to climb back in this game in the second half.
Mondi, number 10 for Oakland, now has 37 steals on the year, tops in the nation. Bader gives it up. Turnover. Mondi lost it. Appling runs the Spartans. Trice trailing. Passed on the 3. Good look to Dawson. Last chance for Oakland. McCune. Oakland takes a 1-point lead to halftime against number 5 Michigan State. The 5th-ranked team led by Adrian Payne in the first half, but they are still down a point at the break as we send you back to the studio. Jonathan Coachman.
Carter, thank you very much. Welcome to the Land Rover Halftime Report. Miles Simon is here as well. Let's go. Number 1 Arizona, your alma mater. First time ever to Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. And this was a game. We pick it up second. Late in the first half, Glenn Robinson III, he had 20.
And he was a stud in the first half. He really carried the Wolverines on his back. 16 points for him in the first half.
Second half, you can see a tight game. This was a double-digit lead for Michigan early in the second half, but then Arizona comes back. 1-point game here. Nick Stauskas, he had 14. This one went back and forth in the final couple of minutes.
Stauskas more than a shooter. You see the hesitation and go there in the finish.
And then Spike Albrecht, tough. 8 of 17 from 3 was Michigan. So, Gabe York at the free throw line. Arizona, they missed 1 free throw today. That was it right there. Stauskas. One final heave. No, Arizona remains undefeated. They start 11-0 for the second straight year. They went 14-0 last year. But this was all about points in the paint, especially second half.
Well, Arizona's front line is probably the best in the nation. Aaron Gordon, Brandon Ashley, and Caleb Tarzuski all in double figures. You see they dominated in the paint area. Aaron Gordon really got going in the second half. They found him for a lot of easy buckets.
There are a lot of games that are just okay. But there are certain games throughout the year that you look at and say, okay, we learned something from that game. Was today one of those games for Arizona?
Yeah, it definitely was, because you're playing a true road game against a top 25 team in Michigan, a team coming off playing in the national championship game last year. Now you take Aaron Gordon, T.J. McConnell, 2 guys who haven't really been in that type of atmosphere, that big of a game yet on the road. And those guys come in, they perform well. That's going to carry on into the Pac-12 season where they're the favorites and on into the NCAA tournament.
All right, so Arizona remains undefeated. We've got news from around college football. Mack Brown, he is still currently the Texas head coach, but it's a fluid situation. Brown met with the school's president and athletic director on Friday. Multiple sources have told our Holly Rowe that the decision on Mack Brown's future is his and his alone to make. Brown did speak at the banquet last night for his team, but he did not address his future. Now, if he does leave the football program, Nick Saban will not be the coach in Austin. That's because Nick Saban got his 4th new contract since coming to Alabama in 2007. He will now make north of $7 million a year. He told our Chris Lowe he never considered going to Texas. It wasn't something I was interested in, end quote. Now, Nick Saban is in New York, where he will be supporting his quarterback tonight, A.J. McCarron, one of the 6 finalists who are in New York City for the Heisman. 8 Eastern, the countdown is on about 3 hours from right now. Live on ESPN, Chris Fowler will host, also live on the Watch ESPN app. It was an early tip in Louisville at the KFC Yum Center. Took them a little while to get going, but when they did, they looked every bit the part. All right, Miles Simon, the coach, back here in studio. We roll on with halftime, presented by Land Rover, Notre Dame, Indiana, over on ESPN. Pick it up. Check out that, Jerry Grant with the floater.
Yeah, and this is a great bounce-back game so far for Notre Dame after losing at home to North Dakota State earlier this week.
High-scoring first half, as you can see, in the 40s. In second half, Demetrius Jackson to Pat Connaughton. Right now, Notre Dame by 1, about 7:15 to go. Again, that game over on ESPN. Wisconsin, they're all the way up to number 4 in the country. Looking the part. Bo Ryan's like, wow, I don't know how I feel about being rated this high. But his squad is tough, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Frank the Tank Kaminsky, 13 points, 6 boards today, getting it going early for the Badgers.
Then Ben Bruss, corner 3. Wisconsin would never look back later in the first. Decker, he had 16 points. Bruss also had 20.
That young man, Sam Decker, he'll be an All-American before he's done for Bo Ryan. He's one of the best players in the country.
An easy win, 86-61. Wisconsin improves to a perfect 12-0. Louisville playing at home at the KFC Yum Center against Western Kentucky. Pick it up in the first half. Rick Pitino, he was not happy with his squad because they were much too close in the first half.
Yeah, in the first half they only were up by 3, but that was because of the struggles. Terry Rozier and Luke Hancock filling in for the injured Chris Jones. They had no production today, and Hilltoppers were able to keep it close.
Wayne Blackshear at 12. Louisville, oh my goodness. That was Montrezl Harrell. That's worth another look.
He's a man.
Louisville, by the way, they were 9 of 20 from beyond the arc. And they can dunk, too. Louisville wins by 16. All right, this game still to come about 15 minutes from right now. The big fella, the rook, Julius Randle, leads the country with 8 double-doubles for Kentucky. But they already have 2 losses. They do not have a win yet this year over a ranked team. They have an opportunity to do that today at the Dean Dome. But Miles Simon, this is their first true road game of the entire year. For North Carolina, we don't know what we're going to get, but if we do, who for them needs to step up in a supporting role?
Well, I think the guy that can impact the game the most for North Carolina is going to be Bryce Johnson. He comes off the bench 20 minutes a game, but he's a long, athletic guy, and he's going to match up with Randall quite a bit at the 4 spot. He did an excellent job against Adrian Payne, but Bryce Johnson, 13 points, 7 rebounds a game, double figures in every game but 1. He's athletic. He gets his hands on a lot of basketballs, can run the floor. But defensively, I think he can cause Julius Randle some problems when he enters the game.
These 2 schools, 2 of the top 3 winningest schools in the history of college basketball, and they get it on in about 15 minutes from right now. Our game here on ESPN2, Adrian Payne. Don't call him Major. He's got 16 of his team's 30. But number 5, Michigan State, trails by 1 at the half.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover, above and beyond. Halftime report is presented by Land Rover, above and beyond.
Cancer is a dreaded disease. I tell people all the time. It affects everyone. I don't care if you're rich, you're poor, you're black, you're white, you're Christian, you're Jewish. It doesn't matter. It'll bring you to your knees. And the only way we will ever beat that disease is by getting dollars in the hands of the right people. And that is what Jim Valvano is about.
We need your help. Go to jimmyv.org, or you can call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V. Be a part of the V Foundation for Cancer Research. All right, other action this afternoon. Oklahoma State taking on Louisiana Tech. First time these schools have met since 1993, playing in Oklahoma City. Brian Nash, he had a season-high 22.
He had a monster game, obviously getting it done in the paint, 22 points for Nash.
Marcus Smart, he's averaging 19, only 13 today, though.
Well, I thought one thing that Oklahoma State did well, they defended really well. Louisiana Tech averages 86 points per game on the season, and you see today only 55.
And Markel Brown can dunk. we see that there. Wichita State, they were rocking in the downtown arena. Ron Baker, we didn't think he'd play. His ankle the size of a softball. He was in there. How about this guy, Tequil Cotton?
Yeah, he had to step up because Baker had the bad ankle. You can tell he wasn't moving well, wasn't as active, but Cotton, 19 points.
Yeah, that was a career high for him. Wichita State over Tennessee. Tennessee has never won in the state of Kansas.
And Tennessee, this was a chance to really get a true road win, a quality non-conference win that they don't have this year. But Stokes and Maimon really struggled, only 8 and 9 points respectively.
Great atmosphere there, everybody back home in Wichita. Hello to you. Duke Mondy, he had 11 in the first half. His squad up by 1 over Michigan State. Back to Auburn Hills after this.
Welcome once again to Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Here at the Palace at Auburn Hills, a 1-point lead for the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. With Bruce Pearl, I'm Carter Blackburn. So what has Oakland done to have a 1-point lead on the 5th-ranked team in the country?
Well, David has hit Goliath in the head with a stone here, and that's what you got to do in your own backyard. They've controlled the tempo of this basketball game, and they flat-out turned Michigan State over. Michigan State hasn't played for 10 days, and they're rusty. Here's Duke Monday. He gets a steal. He turns down 2 to get his teammate a 3-ball. Active hands, high passes are leading the turnovers. Michigan State just forcing things on the inside. And then on the other end, they're not getting back in transition. And there's Duke Monday. He finishes. He's got 11 points, 5 steals, 2 assists, and he's played all 20 minutes. If I'm Tom Izzo right now, I'm lucky. I'm happy to be down just 1 point the way my team was completely outplayed in the first half.
You said you're happy if you're Tom Izzo?
I'm happy to be only down 1. I mean, they should be down 10 the way they play, and as well as Oakland's play.
The last time that Oakland beat a ranked opponent, 7th-ranked Tennessee, in December of 2010.
I thought that was going to come in the first 5 minutes of the game. I can't believe I made it for the first half before they bring up the upset. We are special.
I didn't say who was the coach at Tennessee. I didn't even mention it.
Sometimes you got to do the right thing, not the smart thing. And that's scheduled a guy like Greg Kemp because he's a terrific coach. He deserves the opportunity.
Petros there, and that was the first question when you asked Tom Izzo, say, all right, Tom, why? Yeah. Why Oakland? He said, it's stupid. Yep. Because they're a tough basketball team. For Michigan State, after a 10-day break after a loss to North Carolina, there's no easy opponent on the floor. This is a regional rivalry. Oakland has never beaten Michigan State. They'd love nothing more than to knock off 5th-ranked Michigan State. Another turnover. This one comes from Appling. 12 now for Michigan State. That's above their season average. Bader misses his first look from 3 in the second half.
See, even though Oakland's got the lead, I'm telling you, Greg Kampe is frustrated because that's a shot that Travis Bader will hit all day long. Oakland is not going to try to shoot quick in transition, but if Bader's open for 3, they're going to let him fly. And they got a chance the way Michigan State started the second half to gain control of this game again.
Appling nearly turns it over again, and Tom Izzo is visibly frustrated with his senior point guard and also with the lack of a call there on Felder. Appling makes up for it.
Well, that was a good rhythm shot by Keith Appling. It just doesn't. Michigan State looked more excited in practice yesterday and this morning than they look to be out here in this basketball game.
First lead for Michigan State since the early going. Oakland led by as many as 8 in the first half. Bader again, 0 for 2 from 3. One of the nation's leading 3-point shooters in the second half. Second chance for the Spartans. Appling. 5 straight for Keith Appling.
Well, one of the best times to get a 3-ball is off an offensive rebound. All 5 white jerseys are in the paint. Keith Appling is on the perimeter. Really good unselfish kick out by Valentine. Keith Appling's off to a good start.
7 straight for the Spartans at 4 points. This is the largest lead for Michigan State. Bader long 2 to get him going.
Bader's not going to stop shooting the basketball. That's just not part of that's not part of his DNA. He knows his role. The only issue, Carter, is Bader played, 20. Petros played 19. Monday played 20. Heavy minutes by the Oakland Grizzlies in the first half.
Payne. That's another turnover by Michigan State. Valentine let it go out of bounds.
Well, Michigan State is one of the best offensive rebound team in the country. And Valentine goes and battles for it. Rather than making the tough two, he kicks it out to Keith Appley. There's nobody on him. And that's really good unselfish basketball, and that's why the Spartans lead the nation in assists per game at over 20.
Five assists for Michigan State tonight against 13 turnovers.
Yeah, it's been the story of the game so far. And the other thing that jumps out at me is the fact that Michigan State does not have anybody that's come off their bench and even taken a shot. Not even attempted a field goal in the first half. And we talked about somebody auditioning for some more playing time here with Gary Harris sitting out.
Run out opportunity. This is Ellis and one. And just as soon as you talk about a lack of bench scoring, Alvin Ellis, the freshman, the first bucket, the first shot by one of the Spartan bench players.
On cue, Alvin. I tell you what, work hard without the basketball in a fast break. Fill the lanes. Alvin Ellis III, Chicago De La Salle High School. He was a teammate of Gavin Schilling. They were teammates as juniors. He originally signed with Tubby Smith at Minnesota. Tubby did not stay at Minnesota. He opted out. And he wound up in a pretty good spot, don't you think?
Yes, indeed. And this is the chance to finish off the three-point play. But again, the Spartans playing without the sophomore leading scorer, Gary Harris, who is coming back from an ankle injury, one he re-injured. Bader hits his first three of the second half, third three of the game.
Well, that's great shooters need to keep on looking at the basket and shoot with confidence. And ties Gary McNamara for the 11th all-time in Division I.
57 away from the three-point record held by J.J. Redick. Keep in mind the three-point shot came in 86-87.
Well, and Keith Appling is warming up as well. And teams look to be in a little bit more of a rhythm in this first half. And, the rule changes have hurt Michigan State a little bit because they've got a trio of guards that can really defend. Tom Izzo was saying he may have overreacted to the rules a little bit by not extending his defense and letting his guards kind of go sick them and see if they could create some offense with their defense.
7 to shoot. Petros stripped. Ellis pulls it away, loses it. Loose ball picked up by Oakland. The 14th turnover by Michigan State. Mondi blocked at the rim. Mondi. How about a third chance? Williams and one.
The way Michigan State lost to North Carolina was they got beat on second shots. They got beat on 50-50 balls. They got hit in the mouth by Carolina, but they're getting slapped right now by Oakland. Williams with a pump fake in two. We got a ball game for the Palace.
For research, it may not save my life. It may save my children's life. It may save someone you love.
Help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations to fund cancer research. Operating expenses are paid for by an endowment fund. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. Jimmy V Week continues from the Palace, Auburn Hills, north side of the Detroit area. Carter Blackburn, Bruce Pearl, entire ESPN crew, where Oakland down 2 to 5th-ranked Michigan State. That's Gary Harris, the leading scorer. Had the ankle cast off on Thursday. Tom Izzo says the priority is getting him healthy. So Gary Harris not playing today for Michigan State.
And that's been a factor here because he would be a settling force. He probably is their best player, and he's probably their leader on this basketball team. You can't get a cast off on Thursday and play on Saturday. He's got to let that ankle, which he hurt last August, take time to heal and heal right.
Last year with the shoulders, this year the ankle for Gary Harris. Adrian Payne misses. Oakland a chance to regain the lead. The Golden Grizzlies led by as many as 8 in the first half, led by a point at the break. Bader smothered by Alvin Ellis.
I think smother is a good word. I think Michigan State's coming out trying to turn the pressure up here defensively.
resulting in a foul on Travis Trice.
And that's what happens to you. When you get down a little bit, you get a little bit impatient. I'm sure Tom got after him a little bit in that timeout, said, let's pick up the defensive pressure. But Travis Trice put both hands on the offensive player, and that's going to be a foul every time.
Second on Travis Trice, junior from Ohio, making just his second career start, again with Gary Harris out of the lineup. Into the post, Petros. Payne for the rebound. Ellis is fouled on the way to the hoop. Mondi went for the steal, instead got the foul.
Well, if I had 6 of them, I'd go for my 7th too. That's probably a good foul by Mondi, because without that foul, Ellis goes in there for an easy deuce.
So Mondi, who started his career with Providence, led the Big East in steals his freshman year, and nearly got another one there. Then last year he led the Summit. Oakland goes to the Horizon this year, so he has the chance to pull off the rare trifecta of leading 3 leagues in steals during his college career.
He is fun to watch without the basketball. Michigan State really good on their under basket, out of the bounce sets. And that time they just sort of settled to get in. We got a mouse on the inside. There's a foul on the inside. That was good recognition by Travis Trice.
Mouse on the inside means?
Well, there was a switch on there, and Greg Kemp is not afraid to switch, but Adrian Payne was being guided by Travis Bader, and Travis Trice recognized that right away and said, let's get the ball. I got the mouse in the house right there, and Bader fouls him. It's an easy call.
That's the official basketball term that's in all the books, mouse in the house.
That's what we say when we're on the playground. I can't tell you how many times they said, I got a mouse in the house when they switched off on me.
Second foul on Bader. Payne wants it again. Good look by Payne. Back to the other side for Dawson. Dawson misses. It will be Oakland basketball off of Payne.
I think the degree of difficulty of some of these offensive plays by Michigan State, it's one thing to get the ball inside. It's another thing to get the ball inside to angles. In the last couple of possessions, both Adrian Payne and Brandon Dawson made tough shots look even more difficult. That is not a high percentage look.
Is that someone, not to put this all on Gary Harris not playing today, but guys playing different offensive roles without Gary Harris out there?
A little bit. I mean, look, Adrian Payne's better on the perimeter as the inside, but that's where they have the advantage. So yes, different roles, different folks.
Off the Bader, missed. The Spartans give it up again. The 15th turnover for a Michigan State team averaging only 11 a game.
Yep. If I'm out there and I'm Tom Izzo, and I got Gary Harris on the bench, I'm saying get the ball in Keith Appling's hands. Appling scored 8 of their first 10 points. He has settled down, and we got a bunch of other guys handling the basketball and turning the ball over, keeping Oakland in the game.
Into Petros. Finishes to put Oakland back on top. Appling finds Payne. Good look across to Dawson.
That's beautiful execution, great extra pass. And you can see, Carter, how tentative Michigan State is in the half court to shoot those shots. That was a good possession. They turned some good shots to get better shot. We got a ball game. I mean, Oakland is absolutely not going anywhere. And at the offensive end, they're going to run the clock every time down, and that's going to keep them in the game.
Oakland only 2-8 on the season, but that's 2-8 against the most difficult schedule that anyone has played this year.
Petros, send it in, drop step, pump fake, and finish. He's schooling Adrian Payne on the inside.
The junior from Macomb, Michigan. Oakland back on top. Dawson misses. Michigan State keeps it.
Well, Kay Felder's got to be like, what do I got to do to get a foul here? I mean, I know Adrian Payne has a hard time climbing on my back. Look at that body for a freshman. That's Kay Felder. Well, I tell you what, they recruited really hard to get him. Greg Kampe is not. He was looking for a foul there.
Pershing High School in Detroit, same one that Keith Appling went to. Appling takes a seat. Payne misses from outside. Oakland basketball with a 1-point lead on number 5 Michigan State.
We thought coming in that Michigan State had the advantage on the inside. We may have been incorrect because an old school player named Corey Petros, he's got the ability to score over either shoulder, and the Grizzlies are finding him on the inside. We got a ball game.
Palace of Auburn Hills, Michigan State trailing by 1 to Oakland, and the one thing the Spartans did not want to see, another injury concern. This time it's Keith Appling.
Well, Carter, he's going to go in here on the probe. He's looking to pass, but what's that left ankle? Just tweak right there. Oh, I'll tell you what, they can't afford another injury. Now think about this. Gary Harris is out. And now Keith Appling is sitting on the bench. You're looking at a freshman, Alvin Ellis, having to play. Travis Trice going to have to play more.
Matt Costello is out with mononucleosis. You have Kenny Kaminsky, who is suspended indefinitely for Michigan State. Keith Appling, the senior point guard, rolls his ankle there. So it is an undermanned Michigan State team who just 10 days ago was the #1 team in the country. Brandon Dawson. Oh, Brandon Dawson, the steal and the dunk. He has a double-double, and Michigan State back on top.
Adversity reveals character. It doesn't build it. And first 2 plays out of the timeout, turnovers.
Oakland gets this one back. Mondi attacks. Wide open in the middle for Mondi off the dribble.
Smart play there by the veteran. This Oakland team has got some seniors. Mondi's the senior, the transfer from Providence. Bader's the senior.
Appling is coming back on the next dead ball. Payne finishes. Looked like Dawson got a touch inside. All out fight for it. Michigan State ball. Appling's coming in.
Well, Oakland trying to reverse the basketball right there. Brandon Dawson runs right through the passing. Look at this. Bam. Wow. That's a beautiful anticipation by Brandon Dawson. Obviously trying to reverse the basketball to go in there in high-low. Create a little offense out of your defense.
4th double-double this season for Dawson, but he does have 5 turnovers in the game. All 5 in the first half. Michigan 15 turnovers in the game. Mondi, Williams. Boarded by Valentine.
Too quick. Just too quick.
Appling on the wing. Behind the screen. Rebound for Payne, and he draws a foul off the offensive glass.
There are 9 college players out there right now, and 1 pro. And the 1 pro just rises above everybody and gets an offensive rebound. He is keeping Michigan State in this game.
This is an NBA arena. That, you know, sometimes you say, all right, well, no big deal, a gym is a gym. How much does it matter to these guys to play on an NBA floor with guys like Andre Drummond and Derek Coleman watching?
Carter, it's special, you know, and that's why you play these games at these places, in these buildings. You know, you feel, I remember as a coach, I felt honored. And if Derek Coleman in the house is going to be sitting there watching me coach or watching me play, Andre Drummond, you know, you got a responsibility to honor the game a little bit.
And Andre Drummond had words of encouragement for Duke Mondi coming back on the floor before the second half. The senior guard for Oakland.
I think there's something to the fact that this Oakland team is just not intimidated. They went to the same high schools. They play together in the summertime. And they've handled Oakland in the past.
Attacking Bader off the dribble. And this Oakland team, I mean, they at North Carolina, at UCLA, at Cal, at Gonzaga. I mean, a tremendous schedule that obviously Greg Kampe says we're going to go play the best teams in the country year in and year out. We'll play them on the road. We don't care. And then you get Michigan State in officially a home game for Oakland, right down the street from their campus. And you're exactly right, Bruce. They do not look intimidated at all.
No, and they're representing the Horizon League now. And it wasn't easy to get these guys in the Horizon League. Detroit didn't want them in the league. But when you go out there and you play your schedule, you're sending your team a message. And that is, I believe in you. I believe we have what it takes. And Greg Kampe, when we talked to Duke Monday, he said, you know what I love about my coach? He's honest with me. He doesn't lie to me. He tells me what I need to do and what he thinks. And when you schedule like that, you're telling your team what you think of him. He ain't afraid of anybody.
Travis Bader gets them both. 15 in the game for the senior who grew up with Michigan State basketball. Now trying to lead Oakland to a win over the Spartans.
A little change in defense here.
Results in a dunk for Payne. Off the alley-oop, Michigan State back on top.
I don't blame Greg Camping for switching it up there and trying to see if he could disrupt the Spartans, but too well schooled the Tom Izzo team is. They knew exactly what they wanted to do against that point zone.
Hand check foul called on Keith Appling.
When you're going up against the zone, you want to be in great spacing there, and you want to look to go high-low. Denzel Valentine is a very creative passer. One of his greatest strengths. He's got great vision right there. And obviously, Adrian Payne is the only guy in this game that can catch that pass.
9 assists today. They had only 2 in the first half. Came into today leading the nation in assists.
You know why I don't miss coaching sometimes? When you look at Tom Izzo's face. I don't miss that face right there. He's playing Oakland right now. This is not the Big Ten. And his gut is just wrenching.
Bader. Payne pulls it. Appling says we're going to pull it up and run half court.
Not going to rush that time. That's okay. Oakland back to man-to-man.
Into Adrian Payne. Petros takes him one-on-one and forces the miss.
Duke Monday is quietly or loudly having a really solid ball game. This is why he transferred to be able to play against this kind of schedule and have these opportunities.
He's from Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Started at Providence. Felder attacks. Taken away by Appling. Keith Appling doesn't get the call. Mondi brings it back for the Golden Grizzlies. Bad shot, missed. Michigan State run out. Ellis finishes it off. Alvin Ellis III.
Just like you said, Carter, bad shot leads to the transition basket, the easy one for Michigan State. Oakland has not given them many of those.
Michigan State led by 4. That's it. 3-point edge right now. Oakland's led by as many as 8.
You wonder about the fatigue right now. Can Oakland maintain this kind of pace?
Three-pointer goes down with a hand in his face. Greg Campy wants a timeout after Mondi ties it at 50 with a triple. 7:44 to go in the second. Oakland threatening 5th-ranked Michigan State. Golden Grizzlies.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Infiniti, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance, and Macy's.
State fans, Oakland Golden Grizzly fans hoping to celebrate. Duke Mondi has done his part.
Well, the scouting report had to be stop Travis Bader. And you know what? Duke Mondi read the scouting report. He said, I'm going to get some little time and a little attention. Here he is. He attacks Denzel Valentine off the bounce. He beats Michigan State to the loose balls. He finishes at the rim. And if I'm Greg Campy, I'm going to ride Duke Mondi and Travis Bader all the way down. I mean, look at that stat line right there. He is having one of the best games of his career.
So Mondi hits that 3 and Greg Campy immediately takes a timeout. What does that tell you?
Carter, it tells you that he recognizes these guys have played the entire ball game, and that's a coach and a player working well together. Nobody wanted that timeout more than Bader and Mondi.
A troublesome day for the Big Ten. Michigan losing to Arizona as the #1 Cats come back on the road in Ann Arbor. Indiana losing to Notre Dame. Penn State lost to Princeton. 5th-ranked Michigan State in a dogfight against Oakland. Appling puts the Spartans back on top.
That was really well executed, very unselfish play by Adrian Payne. He had Kay Felder down there on the block. He kicked the ball back out, reversed the ball. Valentine very quietly putting together a nice game as far as his assist package.
Mondi wants it again against Ellis. Bader covered up by Appling. 9 to shoot. Mondi attacks and draws a foul as he was trying to find Petros. So Mondi will head to the free throw line when we come back. Tom Izzo's Spartans by just 3.
A studio update over on ESPN. They have tipped North Carolina hosting Kentucky Julius Randle, the big fellow, the throwdown. It's early. Kentucky leads on the road by 3.
Here at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Good one between Michigan State and Oakland, and tonight on ESPN2. New Mexico against 13th ranked Kansas and Andrew Wiggins. That's at 7 Eastern. And the Illini against number 15 Oregon, 9 Eastern. Carter Blackburn with Bruce Pearl, where Michigan State has turned it over in this game now 15 times, resulting in 20 points for the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. That works out to 40% of the scoring tonight for Oakland, coming off Michigan State turnovers.
Well, and then at the offensive end, Oakland is being patient. They're holding on to the basketball. Michigan State's not able to turn them over, which creates some impatience at the other end. And Greg Campy and Oakland is controlling the tempo of this basketball game. For Michigan State, they just got to grind this one out. They got to continue to go inside, see if they get to the foul line late in this basketball game, and stop giving Oakland those energy plays that are keeping them in it.
An Oakland Golden Grizzly team who this year goes from the summit to the horizon. Only 2 wins against Big Ten opponents ever. They've never beaten Michigan State. The Spartans 11-0 all time against Oakland, although the last time they played here it came down to a 1-point game won by Michigan State.
That's the last time they played in this house, right?
Correct. Bader turns it over.
I tell you what, these teams know each other really well. That was just a great pack line defense by Michigan State and a turnover Oakland.
Michigan State playing without leading scorer Gary Harris. So number 5, Adrian Payne, has carried the load for the Spartans today. 7 to shoot. Appling resets. 4 to shoot. Off the screen from Dawson. Appling to Dawson, just does beat the shot clock for 2, and Michigan State has its largest lead of the game at 5 points.
That position looked like they didn't have Gary Harris out there on the floor. Michigan State got standing around, and Brandon Harris bailed him out at the end.
A 9-3 run for Michigan State. Here comes Petros to screen for Felder. 9 to shoot. Felder finds Bader, hand in his face, he turns it over. That's back-to-back turnovers by Travis Bader, leading to an Appling run out and a foul. 3-point opportunity for Keith Appling and a chance for Michigan State to take control.
Well, and late in the shot clock, you want to try to run a ball screen and get a roll to the basket. And Brandon Dawson rolls down the lane. Keith Appling finds him. And Monday's late rotating over. That's an easy 2. And that's just an unbelievable play by the freshman, Alvin Ellis. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's got great length. He jumps that passing lane. 2 turnovers coming out of this. You know, the last time out here have really turned the tide in favor of the Spartans.
Talked about Greg Campy, the Oakland coach, trying to get Duke Mondy some rest. Back-to-back possessions, defensive breakdowns there for Mondy. And he gets his 4th personal foul right now for the Golden Grizzlies, and Michigan State has turned it into an 8-point lead.
Oakland's wearing down, but they can't get away from what they do. They really could use a basket by Travis Bader.
We were tied at 50 since then. 8-0 run by Michigan State.
Look at the attention Bader's getting at the bottom of your screen. I mean, they're chasing him off that line, and they're not afraid to switch him.
Mondy nearly turns it over again, guarded by Dawson. Fading 3 goes down. Duke Mondy.
I'll tell you what, I'm happy for the young man. I'll tell you what, he's putting on a show. This is going to be one of those games. You know, do we have VHS anymore? Do we have tapes anymore? He is going to put this one in the living room for the rest of his life and watch this one tonight. He's feeling it.
I'm guessing Duke does not have a VCR player set up in the living room.
Old school.
Long jumper won't go from Valentine. So after the Mondy 3, pulls Oakland back to within 5. Golden Grizzly basketball into the hands of Bader, the senior who's averaging 20 points per game. Mondy wants it on the post. Instead, Bader. Rebound for Williams and a second chance for Oakland. Mondy shot fake, nearly turns it over. Bader was open in the corner. They couldn't get it there, but Mondi lays out. There's a foul called between Ellis and Mondi, and it's going to go on Alvin Ellis. Huge three from Duke Mondi. The Golden Grizzlies still within striking distance. On the floor for Michigan State since the lone loss to North Carolina, and they are getting a tough test from Oakland. A 5-point lead right now for Michigan State on the Golden Grizzlies. What's Michigan State done, however, to get back in this game, the lead back?
Carter, defense and rebounding win championships in the last 3 minutes. Michigan State's turned them over 3 times. Loose balls, they're beating them the way Oakland was taking control of this basketball game. Ball pressure, active hands, running through passing lanes, and obviously defense is creating offense. That's been Tom Izzo's calling card for all these years. We talked to him yesterday. He said that he thinks he's backed off too much with these rule changes, and obviously in order to win this game, Michigan State's going to have to do it on the defensive end, because without Gary Harris, they've really been disrupted offensively.
Spartans without their leading scorer, Harris. Mondi out there with 4 fouls, number 10 for Oakland. He's Golden Grizzlies' leading scorer in the game, but number 3, Travis Bader, is among the nation's best 3-point shooters. Bader trying to drive off the dribble, rejected by Dawson, who has been terrific today.
Just a fantastic defensive possession by Michigan State. Those guys all came together and switched off, and their power forward winds up on Travis Bader and sends that someplace in Auburn Hills.
14 points, 12 rebounds, 3 block shots for Brandon Dawson. 9 to shoot.
Short clock.
Ben Ziegert gives it up. Mondi again. Appling got him on the arm. No call. Shot clock violation, Michigan State basketball.
Well,
Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona takes center stage on Tuesday night, 7 Eastern. Number 1 versus number 2 on the women's side. Then men's college basketball on ESPN. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Florida versus Memphis. Carter Blackburn, Bruce Pearl from the Palace. Just down the street from Oakland's campus on the north side of Detroit. 5th-ranked Michigan State leads by 5 after trailing by as many as 8. Payne to Dawson again.
And that ball goes inside. The defense turns their head. All eyes are on Adrian Payne. He finds Brandon Dawson. Beautiful extra pass.
Mondi attacks, draws a foul on Payne and finishes. Duke Mondi, the senior from Grand Rapids, who began his career at Providence, is keeping the upset chances alive for the Golden Grizzlies.
Well, they get the ball on Adrian Payne. He could score over the defense, but instead he finds a higher percentage shot. And then on the other end, Duke Mondi just taking this game over the hoop and the harm and maybe a little bit of talk.
Duke Mondi.
Dawson has the double-double, but it's Mondi to the free throw line. Finishes off the 3-point play. It's a 4.2 possession game with 2:44 to go. Timeout, Michigan State.
Timeout.
So Tom Izzo calls a timeout. This is the Michigan State after the 10-day break. Coming off the loss to North Carolina. It was another slow start like it was against the Tar Heels when Michigan State got down 8 early in this one. So what's the recipe for Michigan State to pull this game out and hold off the upset attempt by Oakland?
When you've been off for 10 days, what hurts you the most is your half-court execution. That's where your timing is off. So Tom Izzo's going to call the timeout. He's going to get himself a shot. There's very little doubt in my mind that he's going to create some action to get an open perimeter shot. And then, of course, Oakland's going to jump out. And I think the ball's going to go back inside to Adrian Payne. Right now, they've got to run their offense through Adrian Payne. They've got to give him the touches and trust that he's going to make the right decisions. If he shoots the basketball, you got to keep Brandon Dawson off the boards because he's the best offensive rebounder in the Big Ten.
2:42 to go here at the Palace. When we're done, Sports Center coming up next. Get you updated on a full Saturday of college basketball action. Get you ready for the Heisman Trophy presentation and the latest on Texas head coach Mack Brown and his job status.
They definitely try to go inside the Payne, and Williams did a great job of fronting Adrian Payne. Called by Greg Campy.
9 to shoot. Appling gets a screen from Payne. Appling nearly walked. Fed it inside. Trice, triple. Michigan State by 7.
There's no way Brandon Dawson could have even seen Travis Trice through the trees, but he knew where he was supposed to be. He trusted it. The inside-out pass for 3. Great execution.
And then Ellis right there with Bader on the catch. No opportunity for Travis Bader to have an open look. Bader again covered up by Ellis. Heaves a 3. Rebound for Dawson. How about the day for Dawson? He turned it over 5 times in the first half, but he has another double-double, the 4th of the season. 16 points and 13 rebounds now for Dawson.
He is a tough matchup.
But Ellis turns it over. Back to the 3 from Trice.
Well, that ball's going to be down on the block. And you can see Brandon Dawson, through all this traffic, how can he see out that back window? But he knows where Travis Trice is going to be. And the best thing about that shot, Trice wanted the basketball. He caught it with his shoulders square and his feet pointed at the target, knocked it down.
Mondi attacks, spins it in at the rim. Timeout Oakland. Minute 6. Mondi brings him back within 5. 24 points in the game for the senior from Grand Rapids.
30-second timeout.
Well, he gives his team courage, and sometimes you've got to be able to mix up a half court with the transition. Michigan State does not get back defensively. They don't build a wall, and Mondi makes them pay.
He was averaging 8 points per game in his senior year. Granted, it's against tremendous competition that Oakland has played for the first 10 games, but Mondi explodes for 24 today against 5th-ranked Michigan State.
He was 4 for 19 from 3 coming in today, 3 for 5. But Carter, to do something special, you've got to have guys like that step up, and obviously that's been the case. If Oakland doesn't win this game, and if they don't complete the task, it was because, Travis Bader just was not able to find that range once again. And obviously Michigan State keyed their scouting report against him because I thought Mondi played great, and they did great scoring inside from Corey Petros.
New Mexico and Kansas, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Then it's Illinois versus Oregon to wrap up the college basketball day, 9 Eastern, ESPN2.
I mean, there are a couple guys out there right now for Michigan State that aren't normally going to be out there. And Ellis is one of them, Keith Appling, and I think that was Bader having a little discussion, a little extracurricular.
They give the foul. That's Ben Ziegler who gives the foul, sending Appling to the free throw line. SportsCenter follows us when we're done here at the Palace. Minute 4 to go. Michigan State leads by 5. Oh, correction, that was the 6th foul, so not yet in the bonus. So Oakland gives its 1 foul.
That's the right play. With down 5, with that time to score, that's the play you got to make. And let me tell you something, Greg Hampy is not happy right now being down 5 with a minute to go. He expected his team to win this basketball game, and they're going to try to make the plays in the last minute to win it.
Appling splits the double. Not fouling. Payne runs out. Screen for Trice. Ellis misses the floater. It will be Oakland basketball off of Ellis. So the Golden Grizzlies elect not to foul, get it back down 5.
That's the decision that Greg Campy had to make. It paid off for him. Bucket here, and it becomes a 1-possession basketball game. That's a tough call with about a minute left to go, whether you should or should not foul. But Michigan State has struggled to score against a half court, and the gamble paid off. I think what the coach is talking to Keith Appling about is stop talking. Duke's talking, don't talk. Just play your game. And I think Mondi's got him off his game a little bit.
Meanwhile, Tom Izzo has asked for a replay, which is one of the changes as far as going to the monitor that you see this year in college basketball.
I didn't see him throw the red flag, did you?
No, he didn't pull it out of the sock. But this year, the officials can go to that monitor to determine late game situations, who touched it last. Tom Izzo believes it was last touched by Oakland. The ruling was out of bounds off of Michigan State. Now, just like in football, you hear the phrase over and over, indisputable video evidence. That's also now in the college basketball rule book, that basically the call on the field, like we're used to hearing in football, you have to have the indisputable video evidence to overturn it.
Well, Monday is going to have his right hand on the inside of that basketball, and Brandon Dawson is going to come over the top of his hand here and knock the ball out. That ball may go off of Monday's finger last, but as Brandon Dawson falls through, I think he was the cause of the ball going out of bounds. And I'd say the ball should go to Oakland.
So here, take a close look at this one as to whether, the question is, did Ellis touch it as it's flying out of bounds? That was the ruling on the field, was that Ellis touched that basketball. And I think Tom Izzo may have an expertly achieved challenge.
Ellis did touch the basketball, but a lot of times what officials will do, if they felt like Brandon Dawson maybe came over the top on that one, a lot of times they won't call a foul, and it wasn't a foul, but they'll just go ahead and give the ball to Oakland in that situation. They're going to look at it again.
So the new rule, in the last 2 minutes of the second period and overtime, officials may use the monitor to determine which team caused the ball to go out of bounds when there's a deflection involving 2 or more players. All that tells you is the last 2 minutes now, that's been added, an addition for the officials to go to that monitor. Another way to use the monitor to try and get this right.
See, this is the one I think is going to show it the best. Monday's got his hand on the ball right there. But Dawson comes over, and Monday's hands on the ball last, but Dawson was the one that sort of came over the top and pushed that ball out of bounds. It's a tough call. Go either way. What do you think, Carter?
Is there indisputable video evidence? I mean, when you talk to the replay, now the difference between basketball and football is, in football, you have a booth at the top with dedicated replay officials who are reviewing everything. Basketball, now you have the same game referees who are going over there to try to make the determination. What we hear all the time is from officials, they're looking for a clear picture. If there's a clear picture, and obviously if we have an opportunity to get an explanation, we will get that explanation. And it will be Oakland basketball. So, as we say in college football, the ruling on the field stands. There was not indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. So that's a big one for Oakland. I mean, I certainly think Tom Izzo was right in challenging that,
yes,
but it remains Oakland ball.
I think the officials got it right. I think they got that call right. I just wish they got it done like a minute and a half sooner.
So Oakland down by 5, 2-possession game. The Golden Grizzlies need to score quickly. Felder to Bader, launches the 3, no good. It was short, defended by Trice. Appling is fouled by Felder coming back.
I understand trying to get the ball to Travis Bader. I do. But Michigan State's got size on the perimeter. They're going to switch out on him. And I just believe that Oakland could have got a better shot if they went in a different direction. I know he's your guy. I know he's your senior. But while all the attention has been on Bader, Monday has been the guy.
So now Appling to try and ice it. It's the front end. And Appling, who went down earlier in the game with an ankle injury, then bounced back just a few minutes later. That's a huge positive sign for Michigan State, because without Gary Harris, without Matt Costello, Kenny Kaminsky suspended indefinitely, the Spartans need the senior point guard, Keith Appling, and here he is to close out a win after a tough upset challenge from Oakland.
Now the senior stepped up for Michigan State, as you would expect them to.
Bader hits the 3 late. Timeout, Oakland. So back to a 4-point game. There's 15.3 seconds. Still a 2-possession game. But Bader's late 3 gives Greg Kampe and Oakland some hope.
It's a 30-second timeout.
Well, we just talked about the difference there. Bader comes off the baseline on the down, and Appling turns his head. and really just lost sight of Travis Bader. He comes to the top and makes the three with 15.3 seconds left to go and a 6-point ball game. And of course, that three puts him 10th all time. He's moving up the list fast, isn't he?
So 401 moving ahead of Jerry McNamara. And again, that record held by J.J. Redick of Duke with 457. This is since the three-point line came in the 86-87 season. Sports Center coming up next here. Sports Center is coming up next on ESPN2.
I think what you got to do here is you've got to try to go for the steal, and if you don't get the steal, foul right away.
Didn't get the steal, didn't get the foul right away. So Appling has it, seconds winding away. Finally, the foul given to send Appling to the line, but now it's 7.9 seconds. Can't be upset that his guys did not foul quickly enough.
I'm just wondering with amazement, what did we talk about? What did we talk about during the timeout? We're going to go for the steal right there or foul him. Time, score. Time is their enemy.
Do you think that Mitch Benziger did his coach's bidding on that last play from the body language?
No. But I'll tell you what, his coach loves his players, and his players love him. And that's why Benziger sat there, took it, understands.
Timeout taken by Michigan State.
Michigan State uses a timeout to talk about the late game situation. 7.9. So Tom Izzo has 2 left, uses 1 here. So Michigan State, they have North Florida on Tuesday, at Texas next Saturday at the Irwin Center in Austin, New Orleans, and then into Big Ten play. That December 31st game, by the way, is at Penn State. Michigan State explored the possibility with Penn State of moving that game to Southern California so that Michigan State fans could be there on January 1 for the Rose Bowl. Obviously, they'll be there for the football game. The basketball team was trying to make sure that maybe they could be there for the Rose Bowl game as well. It remains a true Big Ten road game at Penn State. And speaking of the Big Ten champion Michigan State football team, this was Tom Izzo took his guys down there. It was overall a 21-hour day from East Lansing down to Indianapolis. They got to celebrate. We asked Tom, what was your favorite part of the day? He says he was trying to round up the guys when Michigan State had it in hand on the football field. And his guys said, no, we want to stay for the trophy presentation. We want to stay there to honor the Spartan football team. We'll deal with the traffic. What impresses you about Michigan State's?
They survived. I mean, they just survived in this situation with a whole new cast of characters. Tom Izzo's got a whole game long of things that he can teach. And he's happy to get out of here with a W. He can tell his players, I told you so. And obviously, Greg Kampe can build on this as he enters into the Horizon.
5th-ranked Michigan State survives an upset test from the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, 67-63. Michigan State goes to 8-1 on the season. For Bruce Pearl and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. Michigan State hangs on to beat Oakland here at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Coming up next.